Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hindu Explain series. I am Kushagra Goel. And yesterday a lot of you had different types of doubts, and today I'll again be taking assistance of my phone to clarify them one by one, okay? And then today there is another editorial about the Central Vista project. I'll give a brief overview of the project today while discussing the editorial. And then tomorrow, I assure you, I will discuss the judgment and different aspects of what is relevant for you all tomorrow. Okay, so don't worry about that. Now let's begin with the doubts first. So one doubt students had was about the statement from the main editorial yesterday, which was all speculation about deeper causes return from the shock of reality, the stark, naked brutality of facts of things as they are. Okay, what this means is basically that, see, the realization that this was brimming in the US society, a frustration or a divide between the two, the Central America and on the coastal America, the divide between Republicans and Democrats, the divide between the people of America was brewing and nothing was done. Rather, politicians stoked the divide, which was the allegation against Donald Trump, that he stoked the division, put the society to the brink, and yesterday the events on January 6th and 7th were a reflection of that. So the statement that, see, from the shock of reality, that, see, this event has shocked us, but yet the stark, naked brutality of facts of things as they are, that, see, even if this has shocked us, we were not outraged enough when the divide was being created. It is similar to, for example, when any event, for example, the Hathras gang rape or the Badaयूं gang rape that has taken place in Uttar Pradesh recently. Only when such an event happens, we are outraged, but yet nothing is really done to address the larger concern. And that is exactly what this statement also means, that even though we may feel outraged right now, overall things will not change, okay? And that is a worry that they have and a hope that they believe that Joe Biden will do something about it, okay? The next is why, another question of why was it being called a mob attack? What is actually meant by mob attack and mob lynching? See, mob is basically bheed, okay? When a crowd gathers, or you can say that, see, if it is a gathering, it is controlled by someone, then it is still fine. But mob is something that goes out of control, a crowd that has then no limits, okay? And a mob attack is basically that, see, this was similar to what was happening in the partition. Despite having stalwarts in the of freedom movement, Sardar Patel, Vallabhbhai Patel, Pandit Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, despite their repeated request for peace, the partition violence dragged on for 1 year. And that is exactly what is mobs. Once people become so agitated that they stop seeing humans but actually see each other as enemies, or when they are so shrouded in anger or whatever their belief is, and they cannot see beyond what they have already thought, then it becomes mobs. Mob lynchings are similar events when people collectivize and kill someone without any actual belief, or there is no real reason for that event to happen, but it is still happening. Those kinds of events are basically called mobs. They may not be led by anyone. They may not have any leader, or no one is actually actively instigating them, but a spark of it, and then it can happen. Similarly, in 1992, when the Babri Masjid were demolished, it is also claimed that it was a mob, right? Lal Krishna Advani recently in his court statement also admitted that he was requesting people to come down, but they had gone out of control. And that is exactly, those kinds of events are mobs, okay? That they spiral out so much that you cannot control them. And that is why, to the previous statement that I explained, what you need to do is take long-term steps to bridge the gap between society and not let such division exist in the first place, okay? Then what is Whistleblowers Act? See, when, for example, you are part of a government is planning something, okay? Or let's say we plan a party, and then one of the member of the party then releases or tells the person that, see, we are planning a surprise party for X person. Then that person can be called a whistleblower, okay? In governments or when there are such events, high classified files, okay, when those are released, those people are known as whistleblowers, okay. They need some amount of protection because they are going against the establishment, going against the government, and therefore to protect them, such kind of acts are known as whistleblower acts, okay. Then another question a lot of you asked was about the Central Vista project. That, see, the challenge to the project was premised on high principles of democracy and not limited to mere infringement of statutory provisions. Now, this is something that I will explain when we talk about the editorial today. Don't wait for that, okay. Then another question about generally what is now relevant from US elections, okay. See, current affairs, now this has become a big event. So we have already discussed the entire process of US elections, okay. How US elections take place, what is certification, and now again proceedings for impeachment of the US president are about to begin. So that is something that you all need to know what is this process, okay. It can be asked in form of a passage and other events related to it, okay. So therefore we have talked about most of them, so keep a note of it under the heading of US elections and controversy, okay. Then what is horizontal and vertical quota of reservations, okay. See, horizontal and vertical is basically the format in which reservation is provided. When it is on the same plane, it is horizontal. When it is on a different categories, for example, management, top level management, then secondary level, then lower level, that is vertical reservation, okay. When it is on the same plane, then it is known as horizontal, okay. Then moving on, another question about MSPs and APMCs, okay. See, MSP is minimum support price, okay. That is the price that the government announces for a particular crop, that a produce will not be sold below this, okay. Just like for retail products, we have MRP, the maximum retail price, that no one will sell a product above this price. Similarly, MSP is the minimum support price, that no produce will be sold below this. The problem with this is that at a lot of places, actually either the MSP is pronounced to be too high, or people or farmers do not get their produce when they sell it outside APMCs or in the market, they do not get the MSP. So the problem is that, see, MSP is determined on basic input that the farmer puts and also the cost for him that is incurred, okay, and a little bit of margin of profit for him to be incentivized to continue doing farming. If your income is not growing, why would you want to do that same job, right? And essentially that is why MSP is a little above what is the input price. But market forces sometimes can put or drag a price below the basic bare minimum, and that is the concern that the farmers also have during their protest, that, see, at every profession, in any profession that you are, even if you are a manual labor, you are given a minimum price, a guarantee by the government that no one can employ you below that, right? Now, exactly what the concern of the farmers is, that why shouldn't such a guarantee exist for farming? If it can exist for all the professions across the world, then why should farming be left out of it? The one profession that sustains human consumption. We all can sustain ourselves, the work that we do, only when we have food in our belly, which is through the efforts of the farmers. So that is their concern, okay. So now with this, let's dive into today's newspaper, okay. So on the front page, on the left hand side, there is Lashkar-e-Taiba Commander Zakir ur Rahman Lakhvi has been sentenced to 5 years of imprisonment. Again, see, all of this is in light of the FATF meet that is supposed to take place. This is a pattern that Pakistan follows. I have been talking about it. Also, see, Pakistan also has this pattern that once certain terrorist leaders become redundant for their use, they put them behind bar. Similar to, see, how they did it to Osama bin Laden, right? For approximately a decade, he was hidden in Pakistan, and suddenly he came out of blue and he was encountered, right? So this is a pattern of Pakistan, that once someone becomes redundant to the use, they put him in front and sentence them or put them behind bars. But the problem with terrorism is, it's like an amoeba. if you kill one head, two might sprung up. Okay, so you need long term sustained pressure, and that is exactly what the position of India has been in FATF meetings, that see, this is all similar pattern, nothing really changes on side of Pakistan. They don't take, their society doesn't really take any constructive action against terrorism at large. So even if one or two terrorists are killed, the entire problem of terrorism doesn't go away, which is the purpose of FATF. Okay, so in light of that, read this news. Then the farmer protest, the talks again failed, nothing happened again in the meeting. The government told the farmers that, see, you can approach the Supreme Court to check the validity of the laws, they are valid. The farmers have said that, see, we are not questioning the validity of the laws. What we are saying is that, see, this is a policy question and you have to retract it. Okay, so the impasse between the farmers and the government is going on. What this issue really means is, see, what can a court do when they do a judicial review? They can do a judicial review of things that are illegal. Okay, this is similar to how we will talk about the Central Vista project. The government can see, sorry, the court can check whether all the procedures have been followed in a policy. Okay, it is always the onus of the legislature to decide on policy. Okay, so the farming laws are a policy statement from one side of APMCs to another spectrum of open market operations. There is, the court is to see the procedural lapses. It cannot decide on policy narrative. That is what the government or the legislature is for. So the farmers know that there is nothing going to come out of Supreme Court challenging the laws in Supreme Court, because it is not in the mandate of the court. Okay, and that is why they want the government to revoke these laws. Okay, then moving on, a report has come out about the stress that army officers are under. Okay, so you should keep a note of this report, who has given it out. Okay, it has been done by United Service Institution of India, a service think tank, that makes policy or gives out proposals for better or efficiency of the armed forces. What this tells us is that there is a lot of stress that armed professionals are going through because of continuously being engaged in counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism. What is this? This is a problem that armed forces may face, because when you are doing counter-insurgency or counter-terrorism operations, what you are actually facing is a fellow Indian. Okay, you are killing an Indian, and these are non-stop. Terrorism is a problem that is non-stop. In a war, there are still certain rules, but terrorists follow no rules, and that creates the pressure, is what this report is telling us. Okay, then on the another news from the Supreme Court side is that it has asked the government to provide facilities and amenities to the rangers or the forest guards to combat and fight against the poachers. The court has recognized that poaching and the crime trade about wildlife, illegal wildlife killing, is in millions of dollars, and poachers are really sophisticated mafias, and therefore to deal with them, the government has to arm and provide better facilities to the forest rangers. Okay, now moving on the national front, there is not much news for us to dissect. Till now, no case of bird flu has been reported in the capital. Okay, then apart from that, there is mostly political news, and then we'll move on to the editorial. Okay, so I will first explain the other three and then talk about the Central Vista one. Okay, so on the left hand side, optimism unbounded. The NSO, the National Statistics Office, has given us a prediction about GDP contraction, the early figures, but the editorial actually questions the validity or the realisticness of such estimates, because we have been talking about different details of per sector growth and government expenditure through data points, right? So the editorial tells us that, see, all these estimates that the government gave out yesterday do not stand true in front of the other data that we have about each sector, and especially the service sector, which drives the growth of the Indian economy. So once the economic survey, which is published 3 to 4 days before the budget, is tabled in the parliament, we will have a better picture of the state of the economy and the fall or contraction of the Indian economy may be more than what is estimated right now. Okay. Then on the left hand side, night and day to expect women to stay indoors for their safety is to deny them their freedoms and rights. This is in light of the horrendous rape case that happened in Uttar Pradesh in Badayu, that a 50-year-old Anganwadi worker had gone to visit the temple, and there she was raped by the temple priest and 2 other individuals. And what this tells us, another shocking event after all this was a statement by the National Commission for Women officer, who said that, see, women should always have a male to accompany them, right? This previous Sunday we had talked about a women activist from Saudi Arabia, and where we had talked how the country's women have fought hard to gain the freedom to walk out of their house without the protection of male guardians or anyone to look upon them. Why? Because it is a freedom of women that is curtailed. Do we put such a question to male members of the society that, see, you should have a woman to accompany you to protect yourself? No, right? And therefore what this creates is further division. Another aspect that this editorial talks about is the reason why women's security is not in the limelight of policy concerns, and starking figures in India that each day 88 rape cases in India are recorded in 2019, and it could even be more. This is so much shocking, but an analysis is given as to why this could be the case is because most of the women in our society are not part of the workforce. When they are not part of the workforce, their concerns are not in the center policy narrative. When their concerns are not in the central policy narrative, it is easy to brush them aside. And this is despite that post the Nirbhaya gang rape, strict punishment has been given against rape laws. And this tells us that, see, overall society environment of security has to be enhanced, and rights of women have to be put in the front line to generate a more secure environment for women in general. Okay. Then on the left, the second editorial here is talking about India's response to China, and there are 2 main themes from this. One, that China's intention was to grab territory in Ladakh, and second, India's efforts to counter them have stopped or made a failure of Chinese military ambition. Okay, because there is a power asymmetry between India and China, that China is 5 times larger than us, and yet they were unable to counter us. And secondly, India has also captured some territory on the southern bank of the Pangong Tso Lake. What this tells us that India, despite being a smaller nation vis-a-vis China, has been able to counter them effectively, and therefore India can call it a victory, even though we are in a blockade impasse right now with China, and both the forces are almost at war footing or war readiness at the border in Ladakh. Okay. Then we come to the main Central Vista project. Okay, the editorial strikes a different chord. Okay, what this is public commitment to civic projects and procurement of professional services are areas that need definitive improvement. See, Central Vista is basically surrounded by the question of land use. Okay, there is land in Lutyens, Delhi, that is now to be revamped to build better facilities for the government. That is the plan. That new parliament building is needed, new residence of the Prime Minister, different better offices are needed for the government. And because most of them have been ad hoc, the government of India has expanded since 1947, the need of the government is more, so we need to revamp it. Okay, so it is a policy question that the government decided they need to undertake. Okay, that was first. Now, after the government has decided that it wants something, it will invite tender. The entire process of how the land use will be changed, there will be environmental impact assessment, all of that. Okay, so the question before the Supreme Court was this: did the government follow the procedure that is there for having this project? Before implementation of this project, has the government followed the entire procedure? Majority of the Supreme Court, that is 2 judges, stated yes, the government has followed all the procedures. The dissenting opinion was that no. Why a no? Because it is in the spirit of democracy that larger public consultation should take place. Okay. Why is this such a question raised? Because this project was not talked about in the legislature. This was not talked about in the parliament. It was green lighted in late 2019, and by 2020 early it was already allocated. Okay, so the speed at which it was there was less time for consultation by the public, and because Delhi and Central Vista is the symbol of power and the seat of the government of India, therefore there was larger public interest about this. Okay, so that was the only question before the Supreme Court. Did the government follow the correct procedure? The court stated yes. Okay, the editorial states that, see, India in general has a problem about this, that see, we one create higher entry barriers, two, we do not have a specific design, and how we will go about certain projects, the narrative about it. Okay. And thirdly, accountability, that people, if let's say they have overpriced the project, who will be held accountable for such a project. Okay, so those are three things. One striking aspect of this editorial is this, that see, when the government calls for designers or architects, it imposes a restriction that see, you have to have this much turnover. What this editorial is telling us is that scale, that is the size of the firm, does not tell us the quality of service that they may be providing. Okay, so that is one theme of this question. Apart from this, the Central Vista project, there are certain aspects about land use and different rights. I will talk about them in more detail, but the crux of the case was this. Okay, and that is what. So what do we learn from this is, one, court cannot dictate the policy. That is in the realm of the executive and the legislature. Judicial review can only be about procedure, whether the government or the executive has followed the established procedure when they undertake a policy decision. Okay, so those are two lessons to be learned from the Central Vista judgment. We'll talk about it tomorrow all over again. Okay, then on the second page is a story about the scam about the GRE exam. Even whenever you want to undertake graduation or master's degree in United States, you have to cross this examination, which is to test your English. Okay, in South there are more and more, as because of COVID-19 pandemic, there are chances that you can give the exam at home. There is scam that people will come and help you take the exam at home because there is no one to check it. Okay, and the benefit of going to United States and getting a job there are too high for people to worry about reporting such a scam. Okay, and therefore this is the entire story about how this scam is actually taking place in India. Okay, moving on the national front, there is not much news that is relevant for our academic point of view. Okay, the handover of power should be peaceful is then is the statement of Donald Trump after the backlash that he is facing. Okay, and then apart from that, there is not much relevance. More detail about the action against Lakhvi and why he, what are the concerns. Okay, there is an interview about testing of the vaccines and more details about bird flu. So it has been confirmed that it is now spread to 6 states: Kerala, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana and Gujarat, in different birds. We had talked about the 2 subtypes of influenza of bird flu that are there. Okay, then yesterday there was another horror event that took place in Uttar Pradesh, that this group of men actually killed a dolphin. See, these dolphins are considered national animal and they are blind and they cannot even speak, and this is humans killing a dolphin for no reason. They are harmful creatures who survive and are important to the biodiversity and cleanliness of the Ganga river, and they were hacked to death, and hopefully they are put behind bar and justice is done. Just because animals cannot talk about themselves or talk about their rights, it does not give the humans the right to do anything to them. Okay, we are humans who are equally, they are species who have equal footholding on the earth, and therefore they have a right to be protected. Okay, there is one event about multilateral dialogue on COVID-19 hosted by China, which we will be talking about. Apart from that, Donald Trump has also stated he will not attend the inauguration. This is basically that the opposition party is not attending the swearing in ceremony of the new party that is about to come. Okay. On the economic and national front, no relevant news. So we'll quickly move on to the meeting event. Okay. So multilateral dialogue with countries from South Asia was hosted by China. This was the third meet. Okay. Who was heading it from China's behalf? Hua Chunying. Okay. This is a little bit of hypocrisy from China, that China is not letting WHO and the world learn about COVID-19's early outbreak and the origins of the disease, but it is trying to highlight how it is supporting other countries to combat COVID-19. Okay. Who are the countries who attended this meeting? Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. Okay. Who are the other countries who were invited but did not attend? India, Bhutan and the Maldives. Okay. So this is the multilateral meet. Make a note of this because it could be asked in summits and in general, because SAARC had also hosted event about COVID-19 outbreak, a virtual meet where Prime Minister Modi had extended help. Okay. So this is posturing by different countries to extend gratitude and help. Okay. Why is China organizing this meet? Because it wants to extend the influence of its Belt and Road Initiative and China-Pakistan economic corridor. Okay. So this is China's interest of economics that it wants to extend over other countries, and in light of that it had organized this meet, which was not attended by India, Bhutan and the Maldives. Okay. So that is it from my side today. Thank you so much. If you have any doubts about this or things that you want me to cover, put it in the comment section and I will be very happy to address them. On that note, thank you so much. If you really like the work that we are doing, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much and stay safe.